Hi, my name is Lisa Strahs-Lorenc. I'm the author of Pancreatic Cancer, Families Move On. I'm here today with one of the contributors from the first and the second book, Jackie Griffin. Jackie, it's so good to see you today.
Thank you, Lisa. It's great to see you too.
Thanks. We've never met in person, but we know each other a lot of years, a bit more than 10 years. Anyway, thank you for being here and talking to people about your contribution. So first, would you talk a little bit about yourself? Introduce yourself a little bit and talk about yourself.
Yes, first, I want to say, Lisa, thank you for doing all that you've done for the families, my family, and everyone else's lives that you've touched and the time that you've spent to do these books. A little bit about me is it was my sister who had gotten pancreatic cancer, and she's 3 years older than me. And so she and I were very, very close. And anyway, we have other siblings in the family. I work and live, at the time we were about 3.5 hours apart. I live in Florida. She lives in South Florida, or lived. I'm past tense, I'm afraid to say. And I have 3 grown children. We've been a very close family. The 4 siblings have all been close with our children. So that's, I'm in real estate. That's my career. And that's about it on me.
Sure. So, how did you get involved with the book in the first place?
Um, as I remember, you reached out to me and asked about it, and I was very, very quick to agree. Of course, I would love to tell and help in any way I could. So that's where it all started for me.
So, I think I remember there being a big listserv. Do you remember a support listserv that we were all sort of part of at the time?
Yes, I
Trying to
do.
navigate, yes. So I reached out to a number of families, and you did reach out very fast, saying that you'd be more than happy to contribute. So the
Yeah.
first book was really about the disease and the process and what we all went through. But this book is really different. And this book is really about 10 years later for all of us, at least 10 years, and how our lives have moved on. So you want to briefly give us an overview of 10 years and what you contributed to the book?
So are we going to talk first? Do you want me to talk to the second book more
Yes.
about? Okay. Okay, good.
Yes.
It's actually a little bit easier to talk about the second book. Um, and it's all sort of sad at the same time, but moving on is a real part of this whole process. And so for me, looking back, when you reached out and said, let's look back 10 years, it was almost surprising that it had been that long, because it just seems not so far ago. But when I looked back and I started to relive, year 1, year 2, year 3, 5, there was some very interesting things that came out of that that were really touching and really good. So one of the first biggest things I remember, the first year, was navigating through emotions of all of the family members. My sister had 2 children, and those 2 children, one had just graduated high school and the other was only a few years out. So young children in a lot of ways, but in a very impressionable time of being teenagers. Um, so keeping in touch, and teenagers don't want to keep in touch too much anyway. They just want to live their lives and have their experiences. So it was a interesting road to go down with them, and just really allowed them a lot of their own time and thought processes and what they wanted to do. Um, Not really knowing if we'd ever come together a real solid family again, because like I said, the siblings, my 2 sisters and my brother and myself, were very, very close. My niece and nephew were having a hard time. They were from a divorced family, so their dad was not part of the whole illness process. But what came out of that is quite remarkable. The now adult children were very close to us as soon as they went through that process. And the son, her son, winds up getting engaged to his sister's, one of his sister's best friends that was part of our family. She was always in our family as one of the kids. They are engaged. Now they're married. And as of today, right now, they're expecting their first
Oh,
baby.
wow. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. So the process of moving on through the years, because we sort of go through different years and all, as you look back on that, what kind of thoughts, do you have on that grieving process and, moving on process?
As a sister, I wanted to have her in my life in every way that I could. So in things that make her and I close, music, things like that are great memories for me. Um, like I said, as a sister, it's very close to your heart because you grew up as little kids together. But the process was not so much grieving anymore, but learning to appreciate all the beautiful things that she put in our lives and the beautiful memories we have of how she was and honoring those things. So we were very big on family gatherings, and we continued to do those things. And like I said, that the children, her children, weren't always present at those gatherings, but that didn't stop us. It didn't discourage us. It didn't make us feel badly toward them in any way, knowing that they just were in a different place at that time. And today we still have those gatherings, but they're part of it now, which is really cool because it's a 10-year cycle. I think they came back in around year 5, honestly, is when we started to really see them grow into acceptance of this situation.
Yeah. And what we all learned from the book is that everybody's story is different, everybody's grieving process is different, and that no one can prescribe one particular process.
Yeah, not at all. For me, it was going to the things that she and I enjoyed together that made me most comfortable. So she is a nature person. She loved to do hiking. And so when, that was the closeness that I could have is on my hikes. I knew that I actually made a walking stick. She always had one. Her son has it now. But I started my walking stick 10 years ago, and I have all kinds of hikes on my walking stick now.
Oh, that's nice. What a nice memory. What a nice way of remembering her and all.
Yeah.
Nice idea. Very nice. So, Jackie, what's your hope as far as this book and what what you feel people will get out of it?
Well, when we first learned of our sister's illness, you're groping for everything. You're looking for any answers you can find. And honestly, the people that we talked to in the different facilities that had time in this pancreatic cancer journey already were the most helpful to us because they were very honest about their emotions and their, what they'd done. So this book, my hope is that it has a condensed amount of information that you don't have to search for. It's husbands, wives, families, and a survivor of pancreatic cancer that you can tap into and just hear brutally honestly how they went through the process. And we all have to get through it somehow. The second book, my hope is that they will find peace and comfort. And most of all, that we can, thank you, Lisa, that we can all give a huge donation and make it a great fundraiser for this terrible disease.
Yeah, Lustgarten Foundation is amazing. They're right here on Long Island, and 100% of their monies go to research. No dollars go to administrative. So I really believe in them, and they're doing great work. So
That's great.
Jackie, thanks so much. I hope someday to meet you in person, as I hope that we'll all meet together someday. In the meantime, we get to meet virtually. And thank you so much for your contribution and for
Thank
your
you.
experiences. My pleasure.
Thanks, Lisa.
Best to you always.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.